This is literally everybody mood after they got that radio tower up on top of Colony. And this is them moments after making first contact. Always said on the other end of this speaker to have Jim looking like this. Don't worry, I got y'all. We about to talk about it. Before I get into anything else that takes place in this episode, I want to talk about two things that Ethan says in the finale that completely threw me off. So he's playing with them same two finger puppets that Julie was playing with in the first episode to try to tell little bro a story. As he's playing with them, we hear him saying, "Let's go to the tower." Julie then wakes up and asks him if he wants her to tell him a story, which Ethan says, "I'm old enough to tell my old stories now." And the story he's telling right now, the two finger puppets are trying to get back home. Spoilers for anybody who has not watched past season 1 of From. But we know in season 3, Tabitha makes it out of the town. How? The boy in white pushes her out that lighthouse. We find out it was at this moment where Ethan actually started telling stories that impacts the citizens of Fromville. This is an insane level of foreshadow. My question though, who would be the other finger puppet in this situation? I know the boy in white was also in the lighthouse with Tabitha when she got up to the top. Is he trying to get out as well? Another thing the little knucklehead brought up in this episode that threw me off, saying to Jim that Victor is playing his role right now. We find out what that role is, being at the bottom of the Matthews house. Not only save Tabitha from the house falling in itself, but also to give her a much needed education on where the children are at. Also, this is where they rest, and that's true for the From demons too. But we've seen multiple times the kids are also down here as well. Looking forward to rewatching Victor and Tabitha make their way through these tunnels. See what else I pick up on a second watch. But that boy Ethan, you gotta watch what he be saying. That boy know what he talking about. This episode is titled "All the Places We Will Go." This is a reference to a conversation that Kenny and Christy had about a literal list of places Kenny has written out that he wants to visit once he escapes Fromville. He proposes he and Christy can see the world together, but obviously she's engaged in real life. By the end of the episode, she said she's really conflicted because she likes Kenny. If Marielle ain't move on yet, then it's kind of tough. These potential new beginnings affect a lot of the townsfolk, including Ellis and Fatma, which are now engaged after this episode. Congrats to them. Like I said in my last set of takeaways, you've been in the town as long as these people. Establish these relationships and bonds that are life lasting. Ellis even saying, "I don't even remember life before you, and I don't want to imagine life without you in it." Back to Donna's put to Kenny in the last episode, there'll be more things about this town that you missed and you give it credit for if we are able to escape. Unfortunately, they are not though. Because once they're able to get that radio tower up on the top of Colony House, even after Jim is able to get in contact with somebody, he celebrated entirely too soon. It was the Golden State Warriors up 3-1. They just ain't know LeBron and Kyrie was on the other end of the phone. Unbeknownst to us, that boy Jim was talking to the man in yellow. He tells Jim that your wife should not have been digging that hole. At first, it does sound like Jim is talking to a regular dude, and he might have been. But knowing this town, it probably was the man in yellow the whole time just playing game. Now we gotta talk about Boyd and Sarah's part of the episode. Finally emerged from the tent after being moved by Lord knows what. I said it was more than likely by this scarecrow-looking creature we see in the season 4 trailer. I'm thinking it's probably a giant spider. This is a theory that I've seen going around the community. And I mean, look at all the webbing going on right here, bro. That scarecrow is not doing that. We get a couple freaky things happening in their segment of the episode. His female voice is calling out to Boyd, but only Boyd can hear it. Instead of listening to Sarah tell him, "Hey, I can't hear the voice," he still decides to follow it. He sees his deceased wife in the tree. She holds on to him long enough for spiders to start crawling on him and biting him. Badly weakens Boyd, and we can see the hope being drained from this man. It's Sarah that has to pick him up and encourage him to keep going. As they do, they're able to see the beacon of light that they saw in the episode before, the lighthouse. They try to make their way closer though. The storm is getting stronger. It's nighttime. Boyd is not in a position to keep going, so they gotta find somewhere to park. That's when the boy in white comes in clutch, tells Sarah, "Yo, Nathan was right. Y'all looking into this town is getting angry with y'all. I gotta retreat for now. Hey, go into that tree over there." First of all, he's not moving his mouth when he's talking to Sarah. He's literally speaking to her telepathically. What is that about? Anyway, Sarah puts Boyd through the faraway tree first. He goes and he's trapped in this chimney. Literally in the most precarious situation we've ever seen anybody in, going through the faraway tree up until this point. This is when I count Victor, who was under the Matthews house for Lord knows how long. We end this episode back at the diner with the song "Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere" playing on the radio before a bus full of new Fromville citizens pulls up to the town. The absolute last thing that needed to happen at this point in time, but at least it's not nighttime though. Overall, the rewatch experience for season 1 was a 10 out of 10. Truly reminded me why I love this show so much. I still have more questions than answers after watching it, but I do think I have a better understanding of this universe and the happenings within it after rewatching. So I would advise everybody to do that. Go get your rewatching, or I could just rewatch my content, my takeaways, and lock in that way before season 4 drops. The choice is yours. Definitely been appreciating the support on the From videos so far. They go keep on coming, going into season 4. That drops in T-minus 21 days, by the way. And we on to season 2 tomorrow. I'm gonna see y'all then.